Hello, students, and welcome to our math lesson. I hope you had a wonderful 3-day weekend. I know I did get to see two of my grandchildren, so that made me happy. So we're going to start order of operations today, but before we do that, we will have our do now. We do have a question about bullying. We do like to visit that topic from time to time, but we look at it from a slightly different viewpoint each time we look at it. Our objective today will be to learn the rules for order of operations, how we evaluate expressions and solve equations. Our essential question is, what is the correct order of operations? Why is the order of operations important? And how can I remember the correct order of operations? So as we watch the video, we will complete 2 pages, and I want you to pay careful attention to something I call grouping symbols. So we'll be talking about that. Our exit ticket asks us to answer a couple of questions. How can I remember the order of operations correctly? Does the order of addition and subtraction matter? And does the order of multiplication and division matter? And remember, very important that you show your work to me, or you can take a picture and send it to me. That way you get participation credit for your work. If you did not finish your lesson, you still need to show it to me, even if it is not finished. But if you haven't finished it, you can complete it for homework. To get full participation credit, we need your camera on. We need you to respond to your name at the beginning, middle, and end of the period. You need to show your work or send a photo to my email, which is right here. So today's color day. 8th graders are wearing purple today. And this Wednesday, remember, is a full day of classes, okay? No more partial Wednesday, full day. Friday is our superhero day. So we're going to ask you to represent a real or fictional superhero. So first, our do now. Environmental factors can contribute to bullying. Environmental, that's the space around us, the environment. In school and outside of school, we have different kinds of environment. The cafeteria, the laboratory, outside we could have a playground, we have the hallways. So here we're asking about the cafeteria. Is the cafeteria a place where bullying takes place? Why? And what is it about the cafeteria that could contribute to bullying? So I want you to think about that. Have you seen people act out mostly in the cafeteria? Is it because it's a larger crowd, more people? They see other friends, certain teachers aren't there that keep them in line? Or do people feel safe to bully when they're in the cafeteria? I'd like you to respond to that and write a sentence or two about that. Okay, also, let's go down. There's our exit ticket. We'll get back to that. Remember, you are going to show your work to me, finished or not. I just want to see how hard you're working. So our topic today is order of operations. Okay, so what is the order of operations? Well, what it is rules to follow when simplifying an expression that contains multiple operations. Okay, now I know a lot of you have learned PEMDAS in 7th grade. I don't like PEMDAS. If you really think you need something to help you remember, let's try GEMS. Because GEMS puts more emphasis on grouping symbols. And when we talk about grouping symbols, we're talking about the radical, could be considered a grouping symbol, but we also consider it when we do exponents. The vinculum when you divide, so 2 over x, parentheses, brackets, braces. Okay, E is for exponents. And also, I want you to think about radicals when you think about exponents. And I bet you have to look at the context. Multiplication and division. And what you need to remember about that is you've got to work it left to right. And then your subtraction and addition. Again, you've got to work that left to right. Okay, so let's get started. Let's look what we have with number 1. We have 7 divided by 54, 7 plus 54 divided by 3 times 2. So if we're working multiplication and division before subtraction and addition, and we're going from left to right, we see addition, we see division, then multiplication. This will have to go first. 54 divided by 3. So that would be 17 plus 18 divided by 2. And then we would have to do 18 times 2. So that would be 7 plus 36. And that would equal 43. Number 2, I see 24 minus 4 to the second power times 3 plus 15. So we're going to start with that exponent, 4 to the second power. So 24 minus 16 times 3 plus 15. The next thing I'll do is the 16 times 3. 24 minus 16 times 3, which is 48, plus 15. Now I'm simply going to work from left to right. So 24 minus 48 is negative 24. I have my plus 15, and negative 24 plus 15 is equals negative 9. Let's look at number 3. And I see we have 9 squared, or 9 to the second power, plus 28 divided by 4 minus the absolute power of negative 18. Well, absolute value bars are also grouping symbols. So that's where we're going to start. The grouping symbol is first. So that would be 9 squared plus 28 divided by 4 minus, and the absolute value of negative 18 is 18. So absolute value bars are grouping symbols. All right, next, let's continue on. We've got an exponent. So 9 to the second power, 9 times 9 is 81, plus 28 divided by 4 minus 18. Now we have to do the division, 28 divided by 4. 81 plus 7, 28 divided by 4 is 7, minus 18. Now we simply work from left to right because it's just addition and subtraction. So it's 81 plus 7 is 88, minus 18, and 88 minus 18 equals 70. So the multiplication and division does not mean multiplication before division. They are done at the same time, left to right. The same thing for subtraction and addition. It does not mean subtraction before addition. It means they're done at the same time, provided you work from left to right as we've done here. So number 4, we have 48 divided by 2 to the 5th power minus 29 plus 6 to the 2nd power. We need to work inside the parenthesis first. That's a grouping symbol. And within that parenthesis, we will start with 2 to the 5th power. So we will have 48 divided by, we still have a parenthesis, 2 to the 5th power is 32, minus 29, the parenthesis stays until we evaluate the whole parenthesis, times 6 to the 2nd power. Now we're going to evaluate inside the parenthesis, the 32 minus 29. So 48 divided by, and 32 minus 29 is 3, plus 6 to the 2nd power. Now we've got our grouping symbol done, we'll do the exponent. 48 divided by 3 plus 36. Now we have to do the division before the addition. 48 divided by 3 is 16. Then we have our plus 36. Then 16 plus 36 equals 52. All right, why don't you try number 5 and 6 and then come back to the video and see how you've done. Okay, here we have 2 sets of parentheses. We have subtraction within this first set of parentheses, but we also have the whole quantity raised to an exponent of 3. We have subtraction followed by multiplication in the second parenthesis. The first thing I'm going to do is work within the parenthesis, this first set of parentheses, and I've got 9 minus 5, which is 4, and that is still raised to the 3rd power, minus, now remember, multiplication and division before addition and subtraction. So 18 minus 6 is not correct. We have to multiply 6 times 12, and it's 18 minus 12 then. Now let's work within the parenthesis on the right. So we'll have 4 to the 3rd power minus 18 minus 12, which is 6. And then 4 to the 3rd power is 4 times 4 times 4. It is not 4 times 3. It's 4 times 4 times 4, repeated multiplication. And that is 64 minus 6. And 64 minus 6 equals 58. Number 6, we have 7 plus the quantity of 53 minus 3 to the 4th power divided by the square root of 16. First of all, I want you to note that only the 3 is raised to the 4th power, not the whole quantity as we had in the other one. So that's where we're going to start. So we have 7 plus 53 minus 3 to the 4th power is 81. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 is 81, and then divided by the square root of 16. Let's keep working in the parentheses. 7 plus 53 minus 81 is a negative 28, divided by square root of 16. Now we can work in this parenthesis, in this radical, we could also call this 7 minus 28 and 7 instead of 7 plus a negative 28, but I'll leave it the way they've written it. I have a little trouble with my pen there. 7 plus a negative 28 divided by the square root of 16, which is 4, because 4 times 4 is 16. Now, we have to do the division. Negative 28 divided by a positive 4 is 7 plus negative 7. Negative 28 divided by positive 4 is negative 7. And now we have 7 minus 7, which equals 0. All that, and we got to 0. Nothing to show for it. Well, we have all this work to show for it. Okay, let's try 7 and 8. I'd like you to try those on your own. So take a minute and try those. Start out with the absolute value bars and the parentheses. So what we have is the quantity of 9 minus 2, and all of that is raised to the second power, minus the absolute value of 3 minus 17 plus 4. So we can start inside the parentheses and inside the absolute value bars first. So 9 minus 2 is 7, and that is going to be raised to the second power, minus 3 minus 17 is negative 14, still an absolute value, plus 4. Let's deal with that absolute value. The absolute value of negative 14 is 14. So, and 7 times 7 is 49. So 49 minus 14 plus 4. 40, now we can just work from left to right. It's just subtraction and addition. 49 minus 14 is 35 plus 4, and all of that equals 39. Now for number 8, we have the square root, this is a grouping symbol, of 29 minus 2 to the second power. Only 2 is raised to the second power. There's no parenthesis here. Then we have that multiplied times the quantity of 11 minus 8, and that whole quantity is squared minus 26. So let's start with 2 to the 4th power and 11 minus 8. So we still have the square root of 29 minus 2 to the 4th power is 2 times 2 times 11 minus 8 is 3, and that is to the second power minus 26. Now 29 minus 4 is 25 times 3 to the second power, which is 3 times 3, which is 9 minus 26. The square root of 25 is 5 times 9 minus 26. Now we do the multiplication before the subtraction. So 5 times 9 is 45 minus 26, and 45 minus 26 is 19. Okay, number 9 and 10. I hope you take a minute to try them on your own. So think of the division as 2 problems until you get it really simplified, and then see if you can simplify further. So we've got the numerator and we've got the denominator. And what's going on in the numerator? We have 18 minus 4 to the 3rd power plus 25. So I'll start with 4 to the 3rd power. 18 minus 4 times 4 times 4 is 64 plus 25. Divided by 28 minus 5 to the 2nd, which is 5 times 5, which is 25. Now, 18 minus 64 is negative 46. We still have that plus 25. 28 minus 25 is 3. Now, negative 46 plus 25 is a negative 21 divided by 3, and negative 21 divided by 3 is negative 7. And in number 10, we have 4 raised to the second power times 6 minus 3 times 6. We have 2 multiplication problems in the numerator, and they are separated by subtraction in the middle. In the denominator, we have 11 minus 25 divided by 5. We've got to do this 25 divided by 5 before we subtract it from 11. So let's get started with the numerator. We'll evaluate 4 to the second power, which is 4 times 4, which is 16, times 6 minus 3 times 6. And in the denominator, we'll evaluate 25 divided by 5. Okay, we can do that. 11 minus 25 divided by 5 is 5. Now, in the numerator, we're going to do the 16 times 6, which is 96, minus 3 times 6, which is 18. 11 take away 5 is 6. Now, 96 minus 18 is 78. and we have 6. And 78 divided by 6 equals 13. And let's see, we have 4 more problems, so let's do 11 and 12. I hope you try them on your own before you have me do them. It's good to exercise your brain a little bit. But what we have in number 11 is 2 to the 7th power minus the quantity of 5 minus 2, and all of that is raised to the 3rd power plus 3. And in the denominator, we have 12 minus 7 times 2. So we're going to start by evaluating inside this grouping symbol. So we have 2 to the 7th minus 5 minus 2, which is 3, and that's raised to the 3rd power plus 3. And in the denominator, 12 minus 7 times 2. Okay, now let's evaluate this exponent, and we can do 7 times 2 as well. So in the numerator, 22 to the 7th power, which is 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is 128, minus 3 to the 3rd power, which is 9, plus 3. And in the denominator, 12 minus 14. We're doing the 7 times 2. Now, 128 minus, I think I evaluated 3 to the 2nd power instead of 3 to the 3rd power. That should be a 27. It should be 3 times 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9 times 3 is 27. Okay, now I'm going to rewrite this down here. 128 minus 27 plus 3 divided by 12 minus 14. And 128 minus 27 is 101 plus 3 over 12 minus 14, which is negative 2. 101 plus 3 is 104 divided by negative 2, and 104 divided by negative 2 is negative 52. Remember your integer rules. If you forgot them, go back and learn them again. In number 12, we have the absolute value of negative 34 divided by 4 to the 2nd power minus 6 in the numerator and 3 minus 8 in the denominator. So I'm going to start with the absolute value term. The absolute value of negative 34 is 34 divided by 4 to the 2nd power minus 6 over 3 minus 8. Now I'm going to evaluate the 4 to the 2nd power. So that will be 34 divided by 4 to the 2nd power is 4 times 4, 16 minus 6 over 3 minus 8. And I can go ahead and evaluate that. 3 minus 8 is negative 5. Now let's finish the numerator. So we've got 34 divided by 16 minus 6 is 10 divided by negative 5. Now we can simplify 10 divided by negative 5, and that would be negative 2. So now we have 34 divided by negative 2, which is negative 17. And we have our last 2 problems. We have some fractions, and that really doesn't make it any more difficult. Just use the rules we know. We've got 1/3 minus 7/6 times 9 over 14 plus the quantity of 2/3 raised to the 2nd power. And we're going to start with that exponent. So we have 1/3 minus 7 over 6 times 9 over 14 plus 2/3 to the 2nd power is 4/9. We've got to do the multiplication first. So that would be 7/6 times 9/14. So I'll come over here, 7 over 6 times 9 over 14. Let's get a new color to do this. 7 divided by 7 is 1. 14 divided by 7 is 2. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 3 times 1 is 3. 2 times 2 is 4. So that would be, I'll rewrite it here, 1/3 minus 3/4 plus 4/9. So we need a common denominator, and the common denominator is going to be 36. So 3 goes into 36 11 times. I'm sorry, 12 times, and 12 times 1 is 12. So 12 over 36 minus 4 goes into 36 9 times. 9 times 3 is 27. 9 goes into 36 3 times. 3 times 4, or 4 times, and 4 times 4 is 16. Okay, now just work from left to right. We already have our denominator of 36. 12 minus 27 plus 16 is 1. 12 minus 27 would give us a negative 15 plus 16 equals 1. And that's our final answer, 1 over 36. Just use the rules you know for addition and subtraction, multiplication and division of fractions. So number 14, negative 3/10 divided by 6 minus 4/5 plus 1/8. So we're going to think of 6 as 6 over 1. And remember, we have to start with division. We're going to use our keep, change, flip rule, which will be negative 3/10. Keep it, change the division to multiplication, and flip the next fraction. And we have some simplifying that we can do. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 1 times, it's a negative times a positive, so it will be a negative 1/20. So all of this comes down to negative 1/20 minus 4/5 plus 1/8. Now we need a common denominator. So I think the common denominator is going to have to be 40. So all right, 20 times 2 is 40. 1 times 2 is 2. 5 times 8 is 40. 8 times 4 is 32. 8 times 5 is 40. 5 times 1 is 5. So 2/40 minus 32/40 is negative 34/40 plus 5/40 is negative 29/40. So it's just 2 minus 30, negative 2 minus 32 plus 5 is negative 29 over 40. So let's go back to our exit ticket. Okay, how can I remember the correct order of operations? Try GEMS. Okay, grouping symbols. Exponents and radicals. Multiplication and division. Over subtraction and addition. Does the order of addition and subtraction matter? No, because you have to go from left to right. Okay, does the order of multiplication and division matter? So if you get a division that's before multiplication, is that okay? Yeah, the order doesn't matter. So you don't have to do multiplication before division as long as you go from left to right. Just like we read left to right. Now remember, if you want to get credit for all this hard work, show me your paper or take a picture and send it to me. This is really all about practice. So do your best, work hard, and don't forget, Friday is Superhero Day. So be a superhero in math by practicing, and you'll be great.